boys and girls. Woo-hoo! We are in. We have a treat tonight because we've kind of leaned away from the local talent, and we might have even went up a little bit because we have a local brand new promotion. And right here, this is Stir in the Pot with Don Kincaid and our very special guests, if you will. It's pure Vanguard Wrestling, PVW Wiz, Doc Warren. Warren, I can never say your last name, so I just always call you Warren C. So I'm just going to say Warren C, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Welcome to the show, my friends.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
Now, I look at the name and it says Corson. Is that correct? I didn't want to say it wrong.
That's correct.
Okay. Do I call you 2 and 3 and 3 and 4? Because boys and girls, right here, not only do we have a brand new promotion that has started, they've only had one event, but it's a father-son team. Are you shitting me right now? Are you shitting me right now? I cannot believe this is the thing that's happening right here, right now. So do they call you out in the public 3 and 4 or 5 and 6 or whatever is going on here? Please, Doc, I'll go with you first.
Well, I'm the third. Like I sign my artwork, I usually sign it with a Roman numeral 3, but a lot of times before I got my doctorate, people started calling me Doc, so
okay,
there's not so much confusion.
Doc is much easier. And Warren, 4. Do the people call you hey 4 in public, or is it a Warren? I always called you Warren.
Yeah, it's always been Warren. It gets a little bit confusing because, obviously my dad is Doc Warren. So, but Alex Rojas actually kind of solved the problem when he started calling me Dub 4, and I was like, I actually like that. So, Dub 4 is a recent nickname, but it's catching on.
Okay, all right. We got to keep that in mind. So, welcome to the show, both of you. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your schedule because, in the shoot world, you guys got a lot of stuff going on. So thank you so much for taking your time out of your schedules and everything going on in your personal lives to talk to us, the fans. I do appreciate both of you.
As I was saying before, you haven't made it until you've been on Kincaid's show.
Well, I thank you for that love. I appreciate that. Now, this was very easy to set up. I said, hey, guys, what's good? Maybe you guys can come on SDP and we can try to boost the PvP thing a little bit. And they were like, hell yeah. I think there was an F yeah, maybe. I don't know. That was probably but this has been a real treat because I've known Warren for a bit. He's a little bit closer to my age, so maybe our circle was a little bit. I don't know if he's closer to my age because, Doc, you may be closer to my age. Who knows?
I'm 51.
Oh, you're definitely closer to my. Okay. Warren, please tell me how old you are, my friend.
35.
35. See, Doc is a little bit closer. I'm 53. So I have to retract that. The circle that we were keeping was a little more associated with myself and Warren. Being, I believe the music scene kind of got us to be friends. Am I correct on saying that, Warren?
It's true. So someone that you played with, his son was a drummer, and then I took the place in a band for him, but we still maintained contact with his dad, who you were in a band with.
Yes, good, fun stuff, man. Music, I always correlate music and wrestling, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, especially you being on the other side of the guardrail, but like even on the double other side, because this goes all the way to the promoting, booking, and such, and we'll get into all of that stuff. But Doc, I haven't seen you like ever in the wrestling scene. Then all of a sudden, poof, Doc comes out of nowhere. Where did you come from? What's going on with Doc Warren getting interested in the indie wrestling scene?
Well, I used to play around a little bit with indie wrestling years ago, and then life happened. Got called away from it. I maintained some contacts in, let's say the biggest one in the league in the lands, and so never officially had a job with them. But every once in a while, I would surprise things. Like my son and I were on Times Square once, and we just happened to introduce him to Shane McMahon back when Shane was doing that. I think it was his first run, if I remember, Dub 4, right?
It was, yeah.
The Mean Street Posse days, I believe. And so I tended to keep my work and my fun a little separate, but every once in a while, it was nice to have people that even to this day I could contact a place in Stamford and my call gets returned, and
Nice.
yeah, it was a nice little thing to do. But as far as like, I had my hope at one point was to be a wrestler, to maybe do a tag team with my son when he was old enough. But I don't think you can see it here, but there's a scar that goes here down to here.
Oh, wow.
And it's about a half an inch wide or so. That slowed me down a bit.
Okay.
So I would help out with wrestling as I could. And then just about going on to my, when I was turning 50, I said, you know what? I miss the indie scene. I miss doing this stuff. I miss talking to people. So I started to help out a few groups. I invested in a few, and I unofficially helped out a few others. I got to learn that there's some in this field that are awesome. They treat you like family. And there's other groups that aren't so awesome for the same reason, because they treat you like family, but they're a very dysfunctional family. So there's certain groups that I still help out with, and there's certain groups now that I wave and wish them the best from afar.
Do you know what we call that, sir?
What's that?
Wrestling!
Absolutely.
Oh, dear. I've been around for almost a decade on the indie scene. And of course, there's ups and downs, just like anything out of the wrestling world. You take this world, you take this world, you take this world. There's always these ups and downs. There's always these drama things. There's always these things, these happenings. And just like anything else, it is within wrestling. But you try to learn from this and that and go here, then there, then maybe there, then here. And then here we are. You're kind of starting on your own venture with this thing called, now I may be wrong on saying this, because now we're going to dip right into this, because I have no clue where PVW came from, how it came about, because I'm going to start with Warren first, because this thing just came out of nowhere. We've known each other for some years, and all of a sudden, I get these through the grapevine little chit chats that PVW is coming, and it's brand new. It's local to me, like seriously local. And I'm like, the hell are you guys talking about? This dude doesn't own a wrestling company. Son of a bitch. Here comes PVW out of nowhere. Pure Vanguard Wrestling. Warren, I'm going to start with you. What is happening with this venture? If you could talk to us a little bit about it, and maybe not give me all the deets, because we want to interject back into all the happenings and such. But give us a starting here on what is going on with PVW and how it came about, if you could, please.
Well, it actually, I mean, the concept started with me and my dad, but it actually started before that, where my dad and Alex were chatting about starting a benefit, Headlocks for Humanity. And in that benefit, essentially, it would be there's a percentage that goes to mental health treatment for the proceeds from each show. I said immediately, I'm not interested in helping with that, but I would be very interested in doing something wrestling related, right? Like I would be very interested in, doing our own thing with a promotion. So we got to talking and talked about things that were important to us. What's important? I mean, we have some of the best talent around, easily. I mean, Ichiban, incredible. Steven Stetson, incredible. Fancy Ryan Clancy, incredible. So much incredible talent. What can we do with that talent, right? Like, we want to harken back to a time where it was, things were a little bit more kayfabe, right? Like, stories were told. You were really attached to these characters, right? We want to do something special with the talent in this area. And there's so much room for growth. There's so much room for the talent to tell the stories that they want to tell. Do things with these talent that just hasn't been done before. I'm very interested in that. So I've been shooting the shows for Pure Vanguard Wrestling, but also Legacy is Timeless, which is also part of Headlocks for Humanity. And my goal is to up the production quality to a point where people are tuning in and they're interested to see with these stories that we're telling, how they're being told, and hopefully people enjoy the quality that we put out.
And a production level, and I know you said a whole lot right there, but I just want to piggyback on that production level. That is one of the most important things when it comes to a wrestling promotion, because, I mean, let's be honest, the guys and the promotions love when myself go there and guys like Foggy and others that record the shows. But it's on our phone, we're having fun. I'm yelling out, ridiculous stuff. The ambiance around us, maybe you'll hear some fans say some ridiculous stuff and whatnot, but it's not the same. And again, the guys absolutely love seeing the footage. Hey, Kincaid, can I grab that real quick? I'd be like, absolutely, my man, absolutely. Because I know they want to see the footage. And the footage that does come out of the promotions, I've seen, take up to 4, 5, 6 weeks. And these poor guys, they just want to see how it came out. What can I do better? That's all they want to do. I want to see it now. And what can I improve? How did this look? And I did something new tonight, and I really want to see it. I will be more than happy to let you see the footage. Absolutely. But I would never put it on my YouTube on open public, so it would hamper the promotions, whatever they have going on a channel, if you will. Okay. I've had to pull back on that as production has been getting better through our local promotions. So having that higher quality production is a very important key to any promotion right now, especially starting is just amazing. Legacy is Timeless, another sister promotion, seemingly what you're talking about. That is only 3 events deep, and we're going to crown the first ever Legacy is Timeless champion. I cannot wait. I held that thing. That thing's 33 pounds. That's like a third of my. It's huge. It's gigantic. But yeah,
it weighs 1.5 pounds more than my Break the Chains belt, which had been the heaviest belt, the biggest belt.
And a fun fact, it weighs exactly the same weight as El Jabroni's head, 33 pounds.
See, and I didn't think anything in wrestling weighed as much as his head.
Dude, believe me, I've been around.
I'm sure it's smaller though.
Yes.
The belt.
Yeah, but full circle, that production value. I seen you guys bring in some equipment, and I know if you're doing an interview with me, the timeline just gets all crazy. We take a little roller coaster ride. So what I want to do is I want to go to Doc and talk about this production value and the equipment that has the money that's been spent and the effort and the time. Talk to us about that and kind of piggyback what Warren's saying with the production. Then we're going to kind of scoop back.
Well, a couple of things. One is one thing that Warren said was he wasn't interested in the headlocks. I want to make it clear. He wasn't interested in all the red tape involved with doing fundraising. He obviously is engaged in mental health.
Yeah, I love what Headlocks for Humanity stands for, but I don't want to deal with any government regulations or anything that might come with running a nonprofit thing. Yeah,
and I've run nonprofits for decades, so it wasn't that big a deal. Although I am the person that goes, hey guys, we need to document this way. I'm not getting audited. So production value. So when I decided I wanted to help out in the local stuff again, part of it had to do with I had a major injury. I wasn't able to walk for a little bit. I wanted to get back in shape, and I remembered that back in the day when I used to be involved with wrestling, I was in the best shape of my life. So this is the time to do it. Some of the critiques I had going into the indie stuff. One thing was I saw this tall, skinny guy, Kincaid, that was like into everybody's face. And I remember the first time watching the video going, who the hell is this guy? And how come I don't know him yet? And then Dub Ford's like, oh, he's a friend of mine. I'm like, I need to know this guy. And You know, I saw there's one jackass that had taken your phone and threw it in the toilet at a show, and it's like, what the hell is that?
I was
That's
there.
crossed the line.
I was
I
there.
don't even know who it was, but that's crossed the line.
Don was interviewing me when it happened.
Okay, that part I didn't realize. I was like, what
Yeah.
the hell is this about? So we go into the local stuff, and one of the stuff that I tried to do, because I didn't start off saying, hey, let's make our own place. I like to help other people build things.
Okay.
That's what I do. You know, Vanguard Ranch, we built a lot of stuff. I help people build themselves. One of the critiques I had, I went to some of these indie shows and you had very talented wrestlers, but there's no storyline, there's no psychology, why the hell should I give a fuck about you? You know, I actually said that to one of the promoters. I said, why the fuck should I care? You want me to flop down $30 for a ticket? This place was a little bit more expensive. $30 for a ticket. I don't know your wrestlers. You're totally generic. You've got no icons. You've got no logos. It's just, I could take this ring from High Spots or from one of the millions of other places that build it, get a generic one, throw it down into a room. That's what I had. So I said, we need production values. We need cameras. And I've had some people say, oh, they don't care about psychology anymore. They don't care about storylines. Bullshit.
I do.
Yeah. You know, and the people that we're going for want to know, why is Frosty a good Break the Chains champion? You know, why is Red as crazy as he is? Why is he somebody that we should care about besides just laughing and you know, and mocking at some of his things about birds? You know, so when I'm going around, I'm looking at some of the equipment people had. And, you know, thankfully, Dub 4 agrees with me because he's a tech guy. I'm not the tech guy. You know, I use a pocket watch. I don't have a fancy talking box. But before we had our first show, we had 20 grand worth of camera equipment. You know, before we scheduled our first show, we had, as far as I know, we're one of 3 organizations in New England. There may be more, but the only 3 that I've seen, that we have our logo in the middle of our canvas. Okay. We have our side aprons. We have our entrances. We have backdrops. We have our different shirts. We have lots of stuff going on. Why? Because people seem to care about that stuff, and we care about the people. We want them in here. You know,
when Karen and I first saw all of the stuff coming out, I'm like, it's all eye popping. There's a logo, there's colors, there's uniformity through what they're doing. There's the apron, there's the ring, as you were just saying. It's all the side things on the side of the curtains, the banners, if you will. I don't know what you would call those, but the headlocks for humanity, mm-hmm. Got the Vanguard and stuff. Everything is just it's TV. It seems like it's TV ready, you know, kind of thing, right?
That's what we're going for. And I tell you, one of the things that we're going for too. I don't think this is going to show up, but we're already in talks to build our own studio.
Oh, whoa! Everybody start calming down, because that's one of my biggest issues when it comes to professional wrestling, especially on the indies. I mean, yeah, we all love the WWE and the bigger platforms and stuff. I watch it on TV. I don't really go to a whole lot of those. The indie scene is my jam. But it's the traveling. I've pulled way back as a fan. And a lot of it is to do with the traveling portion of it. And, you know, money, because everything is so holy shit expensive.
Well, you can spend $10 for a burger now when you go to an event. Not at one of our events, by the way. If we have control of the concessions, the prices are going to be reasonable because we want families. We want real people here. You know, you can get the people making $100,000, $150,000. They can go anywhere they want to go, and they're welcome with us. But I want the people who are not making so much, that just want to have good, wholesome fun with their families, to be able to come out there and hopefully have something to eat, so they're not just sitting there starving for 3 hours.
Right.
So when I talk to our concessions people, I go, what are you going to do for value?
Right.
I want quality food, but what are you going to do for value? I don't mind making less money as a promoter if the people are having good food.
Right. That's also what you seem to have kind of picked a few of the issues that are out there and trying to nip them at the bud right off the top. So you don't see that happening in the future with PVW. It's seeming like the production value check. We're looking so the fans can have a little something to eat, because I've been to many a show, and there's not a whole lot going on around such venues some of the time. And you're just like, I need a water, please, just a water.
Yes.
I can feel all of that.
I've worked shows before, and I'm volunteering because I believe in what they do. And I'm walking around and I'm like, I just need a freaking water, man. And like nobody has it, or they go, oh, you can get one over there for $4.
Yes.
Like I'm working for free and I got to pay $4 for a freaking water. Come on, man.
Man, I'm getting tickled pink just listening to that because it's so true and it's such BS all at the same time. Warren, I've seen you behind these cameras setting up the production, even getting little, how do you say, production direction. You've got the earpieces. You're 10-4 good buddying over there.
Sure am.
Whoa, you guys are really doing this thing and you're not half-assing it. And I'm seeing it firsthand, especially when we were outside over at LIT. I'm going to continue on his production value, and I know we're about 27 minutes deep, and we have to talk the history and everything of PBW here. But this production value is such a necessity, and you're bringing it right to the table off the ripper.
Yeah. So before we got started, one of the things that was important to me was getting to a point where we could do live streaming, where we could have a high production quality. So I went out and I got some really nice studio cameras and a video switcher, and basically just kind of learning as I go, to be honest with you. So, as of right now, we have 3 of those studio cameras. So we have 2 roamers and we have 1 hard cam, which we can switch between, and I can adjust audio levels and things like that. But realistically, the first time that I did anything other than just testing the cameras, was that first Pure Vanguard wrestling show. And that's evidenced by, if you go back and watch it, that's not the audio that I recorded, because I forgot to record the audio. So it's like,
well, in your defense, there was a blip in a software issue. So when we tested it tested out fine. So that actually was not your screw up, but it was your save.
Well, I will say it was my screw up just because I didn't notice it. So
okay, then you know what? I'm burying you right now. Then
that's the thing. I didn't notice that it wasn't recording audio because I had everything set up, but then right when I pressed record, anyway, there was an update that was required that fixed that problem. But
okay,
learning on the job. The thing is, you go back and you look at that first Vanguard show, and it looks good. Like, I mean, the cameras are good, the lighting is good, everything looks good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice, when you go to that Legacy is Timeless show and you look at that was outside, different light. So I'm learning a lot about lighting. I'm learning a lot about the camera angles. I'm learning about directing my cameramen. I'm learning as we go. But the one thing that I've always been super interested in is the production quality, right? So it's like when I watch wrestling, like what draws me in? Sometimes it's those little things that you don't really notice are even happening. It's like, zooming in at the right time, switching to emphasize impact, the lighting, different camera angles to emphasize different things, right? All these are things that I'm keeping in mind once I'm directing the shows. And I've been super fortunate enough to work with experienced camera people that are teaching me as I go too. So my hope is that with each show, the production quality will increase exponentially. And if we do get to the point where we do build that studio, we'll have the lighting built in. We'll have special places for the cameras. We'll have a separate area for the directing and the production and, the internet, things like that.
A second hard cam that comes straight from overhead view, straight down, and it captures the whole ring.
I know we kind of got wishy-washy here. We went from the studio that you showed us a little blueprint of, and then we went to food, and then we went back to where we were. But now I want to kind of scoot back to that studio, because now this whole production value, as Warren was just speaking about, Doc, it's the lighting, it's the angles, it's a direction to the cameraman. Usually within the matches, and a producer will have maybe a couple specific spots within said match, like, hey man, we really need this this and this and this match, and it's got to be like on point, because this, what we were talking about before, right off the ripper, this is going to be a major part of the story. And without that production value, those camera angles, those zoom ins, that whole story just looks flat when you're looking through Don Kincaid's phone camera. It's not the same. Okay. So you guys are bringing all of this, and Doc, to this studio. And I want to get back to that. It's now you get to travel to a destination. It's not VFW over here. It's not the Knights of Columbus over there. It's not Sons of Italy over there. It's not this over there. It's a one-stop place. And I'm assuming, because of your vision of how the issues you've seen, you're going to have concessions. I can see Doc having a concessions in his big old building here. So please, let's get back to that, because the production value is going to be, it might be even a little bit simpler once you get adjusted, because now it's going to be home, baby. I mean, this is going to be fun stuff.
Absolutely. So two things. One is we still will have traveling shows as well, because we know there are people that can't get to Woolkit. So part of the thing for our quality here is I recently bought a 20-foot enclosed trailer that will hold all our gear.
Of course you did. Why not?
If you're going to go in, you go in. And if all works out this next weekend, we will be coming back with an 18-foot high spots ring to already go with the 16-foot that we have use of. And the 18-footer is probably going to stay in the new studio, and it's going to be there all the time. And the 16-foot is a little bit friendlier when you go to travel. But see, we're all here, and we're in the WWF world. We're in Connecticut. But I got to tell you, my heart was always in WCCW. I was at the Dallas Sportatorium in my mind. I might have been a poor kid, and I could never travel to Texas or anything. But when I think it was Saturday mornings. You could get for a few years, you could get this, and rumor has it McMahon and some other people helped cost them their contract for TV, which then cost them to go to hell. There are other factors, obviously, but in my mind, what we need here is we need our version of a sportatorium. So we're working on getting, this is going to be a barn-looking building, and I know it's hard to show, but it's going to be a barn-looking structure. It's not going to be a replica of the sportatorium. It's going to be Vanguard style. I've already talked to a fabricator, and we have a horse trailer. It's an antique horse trailer, and we're going to have, hopefully for next year, it's going to be our concession stand. We're going to have it so it can be mobile. It's going to have grills. It's going to have what it needs to be. It's going to look, it needs to look like it comes from the ranch. And so when we're cooking here, we're only going to make a 50 by 50 building. So the concessions, probably the cookies are going to go outside for the most part, but we're going to have that. And so this way, if we go to travel in the future, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we go to travel, let's say that we're in Windsor, let's say we're in Danbury or whatever, we're doing a show. Well, maybe instead of a food truck, there's a food trailer, and it says Vanguard Ranch on the side, and it's going to have maybe some fried dough. It's going to have hamburgers and hot dogs, and it's going to have the other kinds of foods that I can't eat because I'm allergic to life. But we're going to have
fried dough with sauce. That was feedback that we got from our first show. Is we only had fried dough with powdered sugar. We'll have the fried dough with the sauce.
Yes, I believe on the last show they had sauce. So the first time it was an experiment. And one of the reasons that we want to build this building, by the way, is that you've got places that are closing down all the time. So sometimes people are talent's booked. Yes. We're ready to do an event, and we get a call. Oh, by the way, such and such a building that we had 10 shows booked at, they're closed. What the hell is that? The last show was outside because the building was closed, and we were able to negotiate, at least give us the freaking yard, because we got people coming, but then the other shows get canceled. So I don't like being put in the lurch. I don't like being stuck behind the 8 ball. So we build. And so we're talking to the town right now. I've got acreage. I've got determination. I've got my own sawmill. If we want it, we're going to make it happen.
36, 18, 19, 20 seconds. Warren, this vision, there is a lot of stuff that's already been shared with us, the fans, in just a measly 36 minutes. All of this stuff, and this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. And Doc, you might not want to say too much more because all of these beautiful ideas, there's people listening out there and stuff, so you gotta Warren, with everything that Doc has been talking about, this whole vision of what the end, the long-term goal here is of the Vanguard Ranch, and you're gonna have this. It sounds flipping amazing. I mean, is this something that you guys have gotten together with and just sit down and chit-chatted, or is this like Doc is off of his fucking mind right now and he's just saying, Warren, listen to this? Because
Can we have both?
Yeah, that tends to be how everything actually starts. I mean, you're not far off.
So there's a lot going on. How is all of this vision coming to head? Because when it comes to wrestling, my man, it takes a village. So please kind of take us on a little journey of, these ideas and everything coming together of this vision that we're hearing about.
Well, like you said, we don't want to share too many details, but there's been lots of talk behind the scenes. We're fortunate enough to work with a lot of outstanding people, have made a lot of connections, met a lot of important people. So like you said, it's not just us. Like we're not the only two that are putting in the sweat equity here. I mean, there's far more people doing much more behind the scenes that, aren't talked about here. But the one thing that we said from the get-go is we want to have heels, right? Like we want to have heels that people absolutely despise. We want to have faces that people absolutely love. Anything in the middle is kind of boring, right? So it's like we want to have stories that people care about. We want to take the talent that we're fortunate enough to be able to work with and make them look as good as possible. That's really what's important to us. So like my dad was saying, his favorite time in wrestling was the WCCW days. Mine actually was the WCW/NWO days. I mean, my favorite wrestling moment of all time, Hulk Hogan turning heel. That's it. That's why I love wrestling. I remember being so upset, right? Just be beside myself. Not how long, Dad. Like if you had to guess, like how long was I upset about that? I mean,
I think you got over it about 3 weeks ago.
It was devastating, and I'll never forget. Like the first time that we thought that Sting turned, I was like, "Oh my God, what's happening in the world?" Right? Yep. I want to harken back to that. I want people to be so invested in our characters and care what they have to say, what they do. Obviously, the psychology in the matches, I think we've already displayed that the psychology in our matches is outstanding. I mean, when you watch them, when you watch the Pure Vanguard matches, they all tell a story of themselves. Not even including the backstage interviews.
Right.
So we're very proud of that, and we're very fortunate to work with the people that we work with.
Absolutely. There's been some wonderful people that we've bumped into. They become family. We've had at least one pay-per-view that we got together. It was just open to wrestlers and people in the profession. We did it right here at Vanguard Ranch, and it was nice. We're planning on doing many more of those. We want to do some barbecues. We need the community to embrace us, and that includes the other wrestlers, because now I'm the commissioner. I became the commissioner because we needed one. And there are promoters out there that we all know, that we've all seen over the years, McMahon, that they have to be the stars. They have to be it. But there was a time when the McMahons didn't have to be the stars, and they let the wrestlers shine. So when I gave a few mandates, very few mandates, and that was when we were doing Vanguard, I said, I will be part of a show when I need to be part of a show. I will not be part of the show because I own the place or because I help run the place. So I said, as far as I'm concerned, I walk around in the background. I help keep things running. If I need to be in the ring, I go in the ring. I do my thing. I leave. But the focus has got to be on the wrestlers.
Okay.
And because Who cares about a commissioner?
Right. You were going to say something, Warren?
I don't remember. I lost it.
He was probably saying, "Dad, shut up." Under his breath.
Well, you know, Warren, we're sitting here with the commissioner of PVW, as he just stated. The show was so much fun. I'm going to tell you guys now, we're at that, excuse me, we're at that venue, very different, which is, I love different venues. It's just, again, VFW, Knights of Columbus, stuff like that. This is open, it's rustic, it's set for banquets and weddings and all sorts of stuff. It has a grassy area and it's got plenty. The kids can run around, have some fun, and the whole 9 yards. There's a little creek over there and a sitting area.
We searched for a year for that place.
Unfortunately,
it's closed down, but
there were fans that just came to the previous LIT show that never been to wrestling before, that returned for this, that associate themselves with the brewery next door. Dude, having some of them people return, we had so much effing fun that night. It was so much fun. Or that afternoon, I'm sorry, that afternoon.
Second Bridge Brewing Company.
Yes.
Yes.
And back to Warren, since we do have the commissioner here, at the tail end of this event, being the very end pretty much, Ichiban came out in a suit. I was like, look at this. He's in a suit. I've never seen Ichiban in a suit before in my life. And I've seen Ichiban from day one when he was in sweats. He's in a suit right now, coming out to his music and missed Ryan Clancy right in the face. WTF. Warren, we have the commissioner. I did not see no commish come out, and I know he doesn't want to be seen at all times, and he doesn't need his face out there and all of that crap multiple times throughout an event. That was the time the commission needed to come out. What in the hell is going on?
Well, there were a couple people that watched that main event, and they pointed out some interesting creative touches, and one of them is, when people are being interviewed backstage, there's subtitles underneath, right? So you can see what they're saying, and people are really quick to point out that instead of the traditional white that everybody has, Ichiban is actually red, right? Not only that, we don't understand his motives, right? Like, we don't understand why he did what he did. We know that Ryan Clancy is obviously pissed off, and we know that Ichiban is not a fan of Ryan Clancy. Other than that, we don't really understand what's going on. But we hope to explore that in future shows. And we knew what was going to happen in the show, and we were so excited to display it, like just talking about, like, how are we going to set it up? How is this going to play out? What's Ichiban going to do? What's he going to say? And we couldn't have asked for a better experience. And the plans going forward are even more exciting.
And as commissioner, I did not go out because I saw that Clancy was being taken care of. I have reached out, but he's being taken care of. And I have put a message into the manager of Ichiban, and I'm expecting to have some video soon of their response. I asked for an explanation, and I've given them that respect. And once I get that, they will get the official commissioner's response.
Really?
So this is not over by a long shot. I will not have that kind of stuff going on in my ring.
Well, as Warren did say, I hope there's subtitles under that footage that you received, because he only does say Ichiban #1, and I don't know if that translates to anything specifically. And if there are subtitles, I would love to see this shit, because I don't know what the hell Ichiban or #1 means when he says it in different ways, and I know he's meaning specific things.
Yes.
So,
It's kind of like the Smurfs, where they say Smurf you, Smurf this. But that's why I had a chance to get Ichiban on camera, but his manager was not available. And I'm like, I need something that people can understand, because him just pointing at the camera saying #1 is not going to teach us anything.
Right.
So we have, now you might be aware of this, we have a special sponsor And their name is Willow Materials. They're out of Terryville. No, excuse me, they're out of Bristol. My fault. And what I couldn't believe is that on the #1 show, Mr. #1 himself goes out and he uses material from our sponsor to cause chaos and to put a damper on the finish.
And now we know that, sand from Willow Materials is the most devastating of all the sand. We wouldn't have known that had he not tested it out.
Absolutely. So that's what we were able to discern what he used, and now it's the why. And I can tell you, I have talked to Willow, and we have permission. So I have asked the manager, and I've asked Itchy to be at Willow Materials on site to do the rebuttal, to tell us, or to explain why they had to do it there, why they had to use that material, why he had to try to ruin my freaking show, our freaking show.
Okay. All of this, boys and girls, we've been talking about Mr. Clancy, Mr. Ichiban. Story-based material. Here we are. We're talking about just one match. Not even. It wasn't even a match. It was an ending. It was a confrontation. And it's already grabbed my attention right off the ripper. I mean, besides of everything else that happened at the coronation, which was the title of the first event under the PVW banner. Now, I know you guys mentioned someone a little bit earlier, Alex being the GMX of TOS, Test of Strength.
Absolutely.
And how integrated is one Alex Rojas in this PVW thing? Because he seemed to, like, I don't know. It almost seemed like it was his baby. He was running around doing his thing. It was almost like he was at a lit show, seeing him at the Pure Vanguard show. And I keep saying, yeah, PVW. All right, I keep getting that mixed up. Shh, don't tell Doc or Warren. So I mean, it seems like he has something invested in this company. Alex is integrated in PVW.
He is our producer, and so what the relationship that we have, whenever possible, he works our shows, we work his shows. So I'm not the commissioner necessarily at an LIT show, but I will. You'll see. You'll probably see me at the LIT shows. I'm walking around, kind of doing the same damn thing that you see me do at the Vanguard show. I'm watching around. I'm looking at the audience. I'm looking to see what needs to get done. We fix it. Alex is doing what he basically does in an LIT show. We also, we don't have a formal relationship with Test of Strength, but I'll tell you, all three of us use the same ring. We're brothers in the ring. We do what we can. You've probably seen the Vanguard steps, at many Test of Strength shows.
Yes.
We're going to continue to do that because the way we look at it, we don't have competition. We all have the same goal. We're trying to put on good shows. We have different flavors. Test of Strength is a I was at their show on Friday, and their language was a little bit more like I'm talking now, but PVW, when we're doing our show, our goal is to have all ages from newborn to death. And, so we're trying to keep it as PG as possible. You see some of the stuff at Test of Strength, not so much, but we love them. LAT, not so much. And, Alex kind of said at one point, we were talking, rather, and PVW is kind of like rock and country. He's more hip hop, There's no better, there's no worse. There's a different flavor.
Right.
And so he's going to be there in part of us as long as he wants to be. We're going to be part of LAT as long as we want to be. We will continue to share stuff. We're hoping to make some real changes in the area in wrestling. And that doesn't mean, this is not the old territory structure where we're going to try to knock people out.
Right.
I've helped talk people into how they can make more money in their. By the way, I'm not even a money guy. Anybody that knows me will know that. Like, I don't even deal with money in my day-to-day thing. But in order for indie wrestling to survive, they need to make enough money. There's so many indie shows that at the end of the show, they're like, "Hey, we lost $600 today. This was a pretty good show." Right. So people are going to have shoot jobs to pay for it so they can put on a show so they can lose freaking money. What we want to do is at least break even. But we realize to do this stuff, to build up the quality, we need to do things like $20,000 or so worth of camera equipment, $15,000 and counting on just a damn trailer, have extra rings to have, we are blessed. We have probably one of the best fabricators that a person could ask for. He made our stairs. They're one of a kind.
Nice.
He makes, when I was, some people know that I also own part of some other leagues. And they prefer to act as if they're standalone, so I don't advertise what I own part of. But you'll see that the production values went up there as well because we got the labels, we got the logos, we got the props made. And our guy, Derek, was the one. Half the time, I don't even ask him for a product. I will come in. Like I came into to Vanguard Ranch one day. I'm at work. One of my clinician goes, "Hey Doc, I really love your blank neon sign downstairs." I go, "You mean my old Ford sign in the motor pool?" And they go, "No, it's in the metal and wood shop." I said, "I don't have a neon sign." They're like, "Well, I saw it and it says blank." And so I go downstairs. Mr. Derek had let himself into my shop. He had made the neon sign. It was an LED sign. He had made it, plugged it in, shut the lights off, and left, waiting for people to see it through the window. So, I can't take credit for that. He made these things. The one of the other leagues, we had shields with our names and stuff on it. He made those. He's making some for Vanguard. In order for us to build up, we want other promotions. So when we get this building done, I got to go through a lot of red tape, but I'm good at that. I got to convince the town that we need this. And then I have to convince some builders that they want to help me, for a price that I can afford. But that's okay because that's what I do.
Nice.
And when we get it built, we will allow other promotions to come in and film with us if they want to. We'll let other promotions come in and do a show if they want to, provided they show me proof of insurance.
Right.
Because our wrestlers are the most important asset we have. Everybody that works with us has to show us that they have insurance. So if one of our wrestlers gets hurt, he's going to the hospital, he's being taken care of, or she, they're being taken care of while they heal. And if they can't do that, then they're not going to do a show here.
A lot's been said right there, Warren. Again, big picture for PVW. I'm going to continue with the big picture for PVW because I know we're only one event deep, but there's a lot invested into this thing already. And when you're looking, Doc has been, talking about the studio and some of the vision of that. That seems like a really, really cool spot that could produce some amazing footage that the fans could see, a place that the fans could go to and have some fun and make memories and all of that good stuff. Like he said earlier, like WCCW, like the Sportatorium. And that's near and dear to my heart. I've never been, but that was my jam, the WCCW, when I was growing up. Warren, is that kind of a vision? You could see yourself like, this is a destination. This is what, long term, we want PVW to be a destination long term for a successful because wrestling sometimes just comes and goes, disappears 1 year, 2 years, you never know. Long term destination place, PVW, is that what we're looking for?
That's certainly the goal. And we're definitely not delusional about how difficult of a prospect this is. We understand how difficult it is to make it in the wrestling business. We understand how much sacrifice it takes. And realistically, what we want is to show that we're serious about this. We're very invested in this. We are obviously newcomers on the scene. So we're still learning some of the ins and outs of the wrestling business. And boy, are there a lot of ins and outs. It's been quite obvious. But we
trusting venues is hard.
We have nothing but respect for this business. We want to see this business, particularly in Connecticut, succeed on the local level. We want to highlight some of the best talent, and we want people to be excited about coming to a show. You know, even if it's not a pure Vanguard show, even if it's another promotion using the venue that we build, right? We want people to be so excited that they're going there because they know that the production level is going to be high. So, you know, obviously there's still a lot of things that we need to iron out, but the bones are good. We're very confident that we are going to put together not just a product in pure Vanguard wrestling, but a destination, like you said, something that's going to excite people. And we also, you know, Derek, like he said, we already have concessions covered. Like concessions are covered. We're looking into a liquor license and whatever might come with that as well. We want to have this be a one-stop place where people feel comfortable, you know, like people are having a good time, enjoying the show, not breaking the bank to be there, and just excited to be a meaningful part of the indie wrestling scene.
And on that note, arguably my first promotion was when I was about 11 years old.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's hard to see here with the light, but
Okay.
this is about, and if I polished it up, it would look, it looks also beautiful. It's solid copper. When I was 11 years old, I was a wrestler in the neighborhood. We were getting pretty good. Now, this is before you could go and buy belts. So here I am, 11 years old, poor as shit. And I said I wanted to make a belt. And so I start talking, and finally my father had this old piece of copper that was in a scrap pile. And he said, if you want to make something, there's some copper. And I found somebody that helped me sketch it out. And because of my age, I needed help. I cut some of it out, but I had to have some help cutting it out. But on the back of this, so you can't really see it, but it is, well, I guess you can see it with the lights that's just right. This is 3D. This comes out just like, you know, the other belts. I learned how to do this at 11 years old with a cold chisel and a ball peen hammer.
Wow.
And we defended this in the neighborhood. When I got older and I stopped doing this for a while, there was another neighborhood that I loaned them this belt for a while, and they were wrestling, and they had champions, and they were challenged this. Now, what we didn't do to make it a promotion is we never charged for tickets because we just wanted the people to have fun.
Right.
And so here it is, 40 or so years later. It's in my office at Vanguard Ranch. There you go. Yeah, you gotta do this. If you believe in this, you make it happen.
Okay. Yes and no. This is a beautiful gift from the gentleman that goes to the shows with Fogman. Bruce Hoggy Hog. They were having a birthday party for me, which I did not know, at a park in East Hartford. And the TOS boys and a few of the other guys came out. We had tons and tons of fun. But Bruce painted this thing. It was a regular WWE plastic belt that he bought from Walmart and stripped it a bit and painted this. And
That's freaking awesome.
He made this for my birthday. Are you shitting me? It's the Pop Championship. I mean, that is just invaluable right there. So we always got to have that displayed up there, you know? I mean, it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
And, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, anything that you want to do within reason, it can be accomplished. You have to work hard at it. You have to be dedicated. I have people now that they look at, oh, you know, you got the Vanguard Ranch in Wolcott, and they think it was given to us. It wasn't. We bought it. You know, and oh, you came from money. Well, my son can attest we didn't. You know, I had a taste of homelessness at one point in my life. I had two parents that were disabled by the time I was 6 years old. I was a high school dropout at 14, excuse me. You know, I went back to school, became the first one to go to college, first one in the family to get a doctorate. You know, and I dedicated my life to charity. But that doesn't mean everything I do is for charity. I have a right to have fun too.
Yeah.
You know, and so we built things. We started our charity. Literally, I took a loan out for $7,500 $7,500 loan, started a charity. Anybody that started a business will tell you $7,500, and it was 2005, but $7,500 is garbage. It's nothing. We did this. I talked to some experts. I reached out for some help, in different places. And one person made it clear, we don't give money to people that need it. And you won't make it 6 months. Well, here we are, a handful of years later, 20 years, whatever it's been. And we've got the Vanguard Ranch. We've got lots of employees. We're getting the job done, and we use the same tenacity to build that.
Okay.
To build this.
Congratulations on everything you just shared with us, the fans. I thank you for sharing as much as you have. Now,
I tell you, by the way, we don't always agree on things. So
No.
Doug Four and I don't know if you've noticed, but he's in his office.
Yes.
And it's in a city, and it's a beautiful office for a city office.
Yes.
You could see the background of my office. It doesn't look quite as nice. And I dare say that we probably have things in my office that he doesn't have in his.
I think
here you've got to have a K-bar.
I think you actually segued us right into my question that has been sitting in my pocket when I very first asked you both to come on STP maybe a week or two ago. I'm going to start with you, Warren. I don't want this to come out like disrespectful or anything.
Uh-oh.
Fuck is wrong with you two? You're son and father. You're starting a business together. What in the hell is the matter with you? I'll start with Warren. You go first, my man.
Well, one thing that's for sure is this is a passion that me and my father have shared for as long as I can remember. I mean, when I was really young, my dad built me a wrestling ring bed. So like every night I fell asleep in a wrestling ring. I used to jump off the top rope onto my giant frog stuffed animals and do like frog splashes and things like that. Right?
Good.
Like this is something that we've been super passionate about for a really long time. When it comes to, outside of that, I have my own business where I'm a therapist, and my dad has his own charity where he's also a therapist, and we do things differently in that way. In that my dad does a lot for charity, which is definitely great. But for me, I felt like it kind of took away from my ability to be productive, right? So it's like I worked with my dad for a little while, and turns out when you work for a charity, you don't make as much money as you possibly can. So loved the work that I was doing, but I just didn't want to be part of a charity anymore. So when we started this together, I was very clear, I do want it to be for profit. Like I do want to make a profit potentially with this. I don't want to just do it out of the kindness of my heart, because unlike my father, I start to get a little bit resentful when it's like it's only benefiting other people, So like we were saying, we're not deluded in the fact that we think we're going to make $1 million here.
Right.
But I do want to have the ability to, make as much money as possible,
Absolutely.
Make the best possible product because we're getting more profit. And that's really where we came together. It's like, okay, in this area, obviously we still have the Headlocks for Humanity piece, which is benefiting mental health and charity. But
it's helping to build a chicken coop right now.
Well, there you go. But when it comes to Pure Vanguard, we want it to be a full-blown product that people are proud of, that the quality is sky high, and we're constantly improving with each show. And that's the goal.
Yes, absolutely.
And how we were able to bridge that gap was the financial gap. As I said, if you're in charge of the books, fine. If I'm in charge of the books, we're going charity.
And I don't know if this has become super clear, but I'm probably the more conservative of the two. So,
that might be the title of this show.
it is what it is. So
yeah, I may be the more conservative.
Well, we're proof that, you know, we can work together. We're a team here. We're all in it together.
Yeah, you know, he might be a greedy capitalist, you know, but so far it's worked out. But the thing is, unlike some capitalists, he's not afraid to put his money where it needs to go. So we were looking at cameras, and I had some cameras lined up that were going to be loaners to us that would do fine. They're using in several promotions, and one day he sends me this link to this real expensive stuff, and I'm looking at it going, holy crap! Did somebody win the lottery here? And now I think it's just like a pipe dream for him. And I go, looks good. I didn't read all the specs because I didn't think we had a chance. And next thing you know, he's like, oh, I ordered it all.
We're good.
And then there was an oh shit moment because as partners, we split all the expenses. And so I'm just like, and how much have you spent so far on these? And he's like, yeah, at this point it's like 16 grand, and you know, but I don't have all the stuff yet. And I'm just going, I got a wife that will kill me. You know, and so finally we're talking about we needed the trailer because otherwise, see, I'm good with managing money. Even though I'm not a capitalist, I don't believe in that stuff. I'm good at it. I don't like it, but I'm good at it. And so I'm looking at this. The last wrestling show that we did, I rented a damn truck for one day. One day, $300. For 20 grand, I can have a great trailer that will last me for years. You know, and so I said, you know what? Upfront money, it's a lot more expensive, but as long as it's maintained, that trailer should last me until they put me in the ground.
And you got to spend money to make money. So it's like we're showing like we're invested here. Like we're here to stay. So in that first show, you came up to me, Don, and you were just like, I haven't seen this anywhere. That made me feel great because we do want to stand out. We do want to show that like we mean business here.
You know who brings shit like that into the shows is IWTV. That's pretty much it, my man. PVW. I want to get into the name, what it stands for, why you picked Pure Vanguard Wrestling, and obviously Doc is ready with this beautiful. And if I'm
you know that's right. So
please talk to us about. Oh, that's the Vanguard. That thing is absolute. You know what I think makes that? It's the gold of the belt, and it's the brown of that strap. I think it's absolutely striking.
And Alex came up with the idea for the brown because so what happens is we came up with a lot. So I'm not there's no one person that gets credit for Pure Vanguard.
Please.
So here's the thing. So I meet with Alex. We're talking. We're coming up with ideas. Alex likes to take things from real life. As I adjusted my chair so I don't fall down, and he takes from life. So he happens to be at the Vanguard Ranch. We're talking one day, and he sees something on the wall. And I go, "Oh yeah, that's my my Knight Templar sword. It was a gift." Oh, okay. And so he goes, "So you're a Templar?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "You know, I don't go to the commandery right now because I've been busy. So I guess I'm a rusty Templar, but." You know, I was knighted, and the conversation like moves to someplace else. I don't think anything about it. So now we're talking about doing our own gig because, you know, I had owned part in a couple of different organizations, but they didn't want to be part of Headlocks for Humanity. They made it clear they don't want to be on the billing of everything. They don't want to be associated in any way. That's their right. So, but I'm like, but I want to do some promotions to raise money for good. We need to do this. So, what are we going to call ourselves? So the three of us, we just start spitballing different names. And at one point, Alex had thrown some out our way, and I'm looking at it and I go, it had Vanguard in it, but it was slightly different, but it had Vanguard in it. And that stood out to me because, you know, we're trying to be the leaders. We're trying to, now when I say leaders, that doesn't mean that we're going to be the industry leaders, that we're going to be bigger and better than anybody else. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to be the biggest and best for us. We're trying to be leaders. We're trying to have things that people want to imitate, that people want to be like. And so that's what a Vanguard is. Those are ones that would go out into battle. He came up with that name because in the Knights' day, they started using the Vanguard. The Vanguard were the knights that went out first. They were the ones that got shit done. They were the ones that would put dread into people's lives if they were the bad guys, and they were the one that would take care of the people who were the good guys. And so he had, originally it was Vanguard Pure Wrestling, and so he had it reversed. And talking to Dub 4, he goes, I kind of wish it could be PVW instead, because I think PVW has a better sound to it. And I said, well, why can't it be? So we talked to Alex. Said, hey, Alex, would you be offended if we change these two words? And he'd basically like, I don't give a flick, And so, so he got inspired. So if you look in our logo, there is the knight. He's paying homage to the fact that I'm a Templar. I never asked for any of this. In fact, some of the stuff that I'm telling you, I didn't know until after it was cemented. I'm like, so hey, how did you come up with this? How did you come up with this logo? He goes, you're a Templar. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is cool. So I had more of a flavor than I ever intended to have or to realize. I can't speak for Dub 4, but I had no idea that it had any kind of Templar connotation. I had no idea that it had any knight connotation until we saw the little image. And then I was like, why are we doing knights? Oh, I guess it's because of the Vanguard thing. And then Alex told it, no, because you're a Templar, and that should be part of it. I thought he thought it was cool. I took it for granted. He thought it was cool.
It's a full circle association. Life, wrestling, all kind of squashed together. I'm going to say this for the very first time. It's going to seem very weird. Dub 4. Now, the name that's come together, you guys seem pretty set and satisfied with what's going on because of all of the marketing behind it. It did originally. And Karen and I were both like, hey, wasn't that called VPW before? And she's like, yeah. I go, it's not. I go, what the hell is going on around here? Pure Vanguard Wrestling is called. She's like, no, it's called Vanguard Pure Wrestling. I go, no. So right now, with all the marketing and everything behind this thing, the steam that you guys seem to have going on, Dub 4 for the second time. I don't think I'm ever going to say that again. You're really into, you're fully into what's going on and endorsing everything that we're seeing right now as fans.
Yeah, Pure Vanguard Wrestling is our name. It's our brand. It's how people are going. It's how we're going to set ourselves apart. We're really proud of what we put out so far for PVW, and we're still working on some things, but even setting up our link tree, right, so people can easily buy tickets and buy concessions right on the app, and we're just trying to have this be like a one-stop shop. So it's like even if they're not PVW shows. I mean, we for concessions for the last Lit show was through the PVW app that we had set up. Okay. But we want it to be, very easy for people to remember. And so you'll notice all of our socials, PVW World, right? Our website, pvw.world. It's just easy to remember. It obviously establishes our brand.
Yeah, definitely. The old school feel, the old school look being the poster. I snagged one of those posters before I left. Talk to us, Doc, about that, because you have an older an older time in your heart of wrestling, where Warren, he has a little more recent, being the NWO WCW days, and you're talking the WCCW, which is more in my heart, my guy. And if people, they ask me my favorite band or my favorite this, I'm kind of wishy-washy on some of it. But you ask me who my favorite wrestler is, Don Morocco. That was my guy. I was young. I could believe in anything that he told me through that camera, whether he was a good guy or a bad guy. Dude scared the shit out of me. Don Morocco was my guy. Storyteller.
I'm looking away just because I've got Don Morocco on my shelf somewhere from the 80s. He's buried in the back, so I'm not going to be able to grab him. But I wanted to pop because I've got the Don Morocco. No.
We talked about the storylines, but are we talking, because I noticed some of the younger talent who likes to do the modern style, they call them the flip monkeys or the stop monkeys or whatever you want to call them. Some of the younger talent within the confines of PVW, they kind of pull things back. So it's not just trying to really concentrate on storylines and making people, the fans, remember those when they go home and want more. But it's also part of the wrestling style. Am I wrong on saying that?
Yeah. So I have a background. I did some wrestling in high school. Never learned the point system. I never was as successful as I could have been because I didn't like it. Like, you don't win and lose by points. You win and lose by pins or submissions. You know. And I had a habit of doing some street wrestling. Some people might call it fighting, whatever. And I want things to not insult people's intelligence. So you have some people and they do 15 spots in a match and they still freaking lose. Yet in the main event, the guy goes and does it once and we're supposed to believe that he devastated the guy and now the guy might need a stretcher to get out. Don't insult me. Also, I can tell you, in all the fights that I've been in real life, ain't nobody ever won with a roundhouse kick. Nobody's won by doing 3 cartwheels and then smacking you on the forehead. Because you know what happened to those people? We kicked the shit out of them. You know, so many. I loved it when I saw. Thankfully, my son was smarter than me, and he didn't do half the stuff that I did. That's probably why he doesn't have the limps that I have right now. But I can remember, you know, back in the original Karate Kid days and all that other stuff. And, you know, and then you'd have the Roadhouse movie, whatever it was, you know, the people doing all these high spots. And now somebody's challenging me and we're out on the hot top somewhere and somebody wants to you know, give me some free dental care. And they would unleash whatever they could unleash. And I used to make a joke sometimes because I could take a good hit that I blocked every hit that guy had. Unfortunately, I blocked most of them with my face. But one thing none of them ever did was knock me off my feet. But one thing I was known for was eventually some hot guy was going to do some hot dog move. And he was going to do that flying roundhouse kick, or he was going to do some flippy. I would take a step back, I would catch them, and I would throw them. You know, kind of harkening back to me with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, you know, where you pick them up and you toss them. And so when I talk to our wrestlers, and we go around, you know, we have people from all over New England and beyond that we've talked to, and they're going to be on our shows, and we love them for it. But one thing I tell you is you need to remember, you know, if you've never been into a street fight, I want you to watch some street fights. I want you to know what the hell they're like, because you don't win by doing gymnastics. Now, that doesn't mean you don't jump off of things. There's plenty of room for high body presses. There's plenty of room for jumping off the top rope. But I'm sorry, you got to do a 360 in the air or whatever first. No. You lose me. Except for there's certain people that can do that and it still looks realistic.
And get away with it.
They're the masters.
Yes.
If I did this.
And to be clear, like if there is a talent that can do that really, really well, they're going to set themselves apart, right? Like it's not going to be everybody doing this style.
Right.
Yeah, so you want to jump off the top rope, jump off the top rope. But I want you to do it in a way that looks realistic. And you know, the people in the real world that tend to showboat the most are the ones that get beat. You know, so I want you to be able to do, you know, Ryan Clancy. That guy can flip like nobody's business. Ichiban, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But when they do it, they know when to do it, when it makes sense to the storyline. And so, yeah, we're going to have high flyers. We're going to have that kind of stuff. But to me, if the match doesn't look real, If it's not two people one-to-one, like if you know, by the way, there's a difference between being real and looking real. Because you could have a street fight that is real as can be, and you don't know what's going to happen, and it looks fake because people are just showboating. You know, so I need somebody that to me, the person that's going to be a champion with us, the people that are going to do the best, are the ones that you look at and you go, that's the guy I want to back me up if I'm in a bar fight.
Everything that Doc has been kind of throwing at us, the fans, a description of this old school feel of PVW. You're feeling the same vibe here, Warren, because you're of a different generation, and modern wrestling right now. And I know wrestling is as hot as it's ever been. It's as fluid across the globe as it's ever been. But the style of modern wrestling over the course of the last 10 years, 5 years, has been very different than what Doc has just described to us, being from more of his and my generation. You're feeling this being incorporated into BVW is something that you're interested in, with maybe a sprinkle of the high this and the high that.
Yeah, so the style is catch as catch can wrestling. So, you know, harkening back to the old days, right? Mm-hmm. So we have that paired with, you know, if somebody has a style that they can bring that would be a good complement to that, we're definitely open to it. At the end of the day, we are different from modern wrestling, you know, and I think that people are going to respect that. You know, we're not interested in putting out the same product that everybody else is putting out. So when people go to our show, our finishes are going to be protected, right? Like, I think that's something that's sort of lost in modern wrestling. It's like, if somebody has a finisher and it's a great finisher, we want to make sure that it stays a great finisher, right? We don't want people, you know, kicking out, you know, every single time somebody puts a finisher, because by its definition, that's no longer a finisher. So
it's a filler.
Yeah, and we're really not interested in it. We're interested in telling stories. And I think that based on the feedback that we got from the first show, people are digging it so far.
And by the way, there's plenty of room for that era. So like there's plenty of room for the Bret Harts and getting trained by Conan on how to do what became his signature move.
Okay.
You probably know the story behind that Bret Hart actually learned to do that move in the shower. They were not dressed for a shower, but they needed some space behind the scenes. Bret Hart was told, you need a finisher. You need a different finisher. You're not going to be in a tag team anymore. You're going to be an individual. You need a finisher for an individual. They were going through a bunch of stuff. They saw Sting's move. Sting's move was also a derivative of a different move. And so Bret Hart was asking, hey, does anybody know how to do this? You know, because this was before the time of YouTube and like that. And Conan's like, I know how to do it. And so he trained Bret Hart in the shower how to do the move. Now, there's plenty of room for that stuff. You know, there's room for the NWO stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and I would argue that Hulk Hogan was never as bad of a guy on the ring than he was in real life.
Oh, come on. No, we're not going there. Nope, shutting that down.
Got us out of that one. Holy cow. Now it looks like you guys are having fun. The way you're talking, it sounds like you're having fun. The ideas that are correlating together sounds like it's all about some fun. The production sounds like it's fun. This is a business venture. Businesses can drive people absolutely insane. But at this point, and I know it's very early in the tenure of PVW, you two, along with the GM, really, really seem like you guys are having a lot of fun and on an amazing path. I mean, because show one was, I mean, we had good times. We had a couple good memories come from there. And I got a poster. So I'll always remember the coronation. That's for sure. So you guys seem to be on an excellent path moving forward. Excuse me. There's one thing that kind of has gotten lost along the way in modern wrestling. And Paul Heyman has brought that to the table, but he has taken that and has skyrocketed what a manager does do, should should how they should speak, how they should be a mouthpiece for their talent. I personally, I love me a manager. I find that it's been kind of lost in the sauce a little bit over the course of time, and I'll even go back to the WCCW and up to now, because there was a lot happening in the managerial system, if you will, comparing to now. And I know there's a few out there that have been in our area for a bit of time and such. You know, the Jared Silverkite. Silverkite. I'll never call him by his real name, which is Silverkite. He hates when I do that. You know, we have the likes of a Jared Silverkite. Does an amazing job. But there's really no one else around. You know what I'm saying? Then there's a hard grasp on a good mouthpiece that really pisses us off. From me to you right here on STP. And I know you can't just go and find yourselves a fantastic manager and throw them into the confines of PVW. Please, oh please, can we bring some kind of vibe of that into PVW, my man, please?
I can tell you, we're actively looking for managers. Here's something that Dub 4 doesn't know. I'm actually in the process of training one, because if you can't find it, you make one.
Oh shit!
And so I have a person that he's been one of the volunteers, one of the behind the scenes guys. He has expressed an interest. He's got a good mouth on him, and so we're working on that. There's also a female manager that I'm looking to. A manager to be, I guess I should say. She's good at managing things, but she hasn't managed wrestlers. So I'm trying to see if she wants to make that transition. So absolutely, we need that. We need, you know, because they help the storylines. Because we got some wrestlers that are damn good, but they can't talk their way out of a paper bag. You know, we've had some people, and they're awesome people. Like some of the best wrestlers in my prime, they probably would have kicked my butt without any questions if they could knock me off my feet. But I can remember at one point we passed some people some talking points, like, here, try to cover this into a segment. And we probably did, it feels like 85 billion takes, and they barely got past their name. And it's not because they lack the ability naturally. It's that they didn't know how to do it yet. They hadn't been properly trained yet. So I'm not going to mention the person because that would be hurtful and it would serve no purpose. But I will say this. They were taken under our wing and in the wings of other people that were at the show. And by the time the show was over, they did a segment and it was really decent.
All right.
Now, it sounds like an insult. It was really decent. But the next one they did was really good. And in the last one that I've seen since, and they're you know, the stuff that we teach it goes to other promotions. So I saw them doing one recently for a different promotion in a different state.
Okay.
And it blew me away. I'm like, I wish they would have had somebody that did that for them when they were in school, because when they were learning how to do all the stuff on the mat, if they could learn how to do that jaw a little bit more, you know. But in the meantime, there's some people who, you know, Morocco, damn good on the mic, but not all the time. So you put him with Mr. Fuji or something,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget. Remember TNT, Tuesday Night Titans, and you had Don Morocco doing an interview, and it was when he was getting ready to do a turn, or what maybe caused the turn. You found out Mr. Fuji was living it up, you know, with the best hotels and the best restaurants and the best food. And Morocco's like, you got me sleeping under benches in the park. You know, and I can remember I was just a little kid. I'll never forget that interview. And I don't think Morocco could have pulled that off without Mr. Fuji.
Right.
Mr. Fuji could have, even though with his broken English, he could do really good interviews, but the two of them together made magic.
Absolutely.
You know, and even though he was a heel and you were supposed to hate him, I remember going, ooh, look at that guy.
And don't forget, I mean, we have Honest Abe. Honest Abe was at the first show. He
Absolutely.
interfered in the match. He caused, I mean, Michael Mastretta ended up winning by disqualification. I can see the pain on your face. But he's there, and we're also, debuting Ichiban's manager coming up.
Yep.
So there is a pipeline for this.
Absolutely.
But like you
and I will
said,
say this about Abe. He pulls that stuff when I'm around. He's going to need that cane for another reason.
Thank you. He's a big giant pain in my ass. One dishonest Abe.
Well, we just may see how far that I could shove that thing if I see him use it again.
That would be amazing. I'd love to see it go up to the curl part right there. Yeah, I'd like to see just that. That would be
Well,
amazing.
see,
yeah.
And then you got to do the curb stomp once it's up there.
Oh, hey! This is a family show. Now on SCP, I want to do two more subjects before I let
It's a family show. We only do sodomy so much.
Only go up to the curb.
We alluded to it.
We don't put the whole thing up there. We just go to the curb. I wanted to touch upon two subjects before I let you gentlemen go. One of them is going to be about that Breaking the Chains championship. But first, on STP, and it's amazing that we have both of you here. You've said therapists, both of you. On STP, I always talk about the mental and the physical having to be one, the yin and the yang, to do these athletic things that they do in the ring to try to keep themselves and others safe. And I know if you have a shit day, sometimes it wears on you a little bit, but you really got to get in these state of minds where it's go time. I got to forget some shit here. I got to put that to the side because there's stuff to do. I need to be safe, and I need to be safe for the other people across the ring from me. I'm going to go to Warren. You both seem to be in community helping with the mind because it's a struggle with many people. Could you please, and then I'll ask Doc the same question, could you please talk to us about the importance? Fans, yes, but if there's any aspiring wrestlers that are out there right now that just want to go gun-ho into that mat and learn all the cool moves and do all the cool stuff, talk to us about how important the mental and the physical is together.
Well, I believe that there's actually three dynamics that are equally important. There's the physical, there's the mental, and then there's the spiritual. If you're neglecting any of those parts, you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So if somebody is training every day in and out, but they have unresolved trauma, or they're dealing with anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, whatever it is, they're going to be inhibited by that, right? So in order to be as good as you possibly can be, you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Self-care is super important. You have to make sure that you're eating right, you're getting exercise, you're taking care of your mental health, you're taking care of your spiritual health, you're being as mindful and present as possible. Those are all really, really important. And unfortunately, it's getting better, obviously, but unfortunately, when it comes to men's mental health, it's not as emphasized as it should be. There's still a lot of stigma attached to it. A lot of people are fearful to share things. And I hope that one positive that comes from Pure Vanguard Wrestling is, when people meet me and my dad, that they'll understand I'm an LPC. My dad's a PhD. We're both in the helping profession. So my day job, I'm a therapist. I talk to people all day, every day, and help them get through whatever they're getting through. And one thing I pride myself on is an atmosphere of non-judgment. The only way to overcome anything is to come from a position of acceptance. If you don't accept what you're predisposed to, if you don't accept, hey, I have trauma, it's going to be impossible to work through that trauma. So getting rid of that stigma is obviously really important to us. We can't do it on our own, but we hope to be a meaningful part of that movement.
Doc, please piggyback on that, because it is a very
it's going to
important.
be really hard to add to that, because he covered so much, and it was beautiful. So I'm going to go maybe not so quaint. If you saw on the show, there's times that I was not out there. It's because I knew that there was something going on behind the scenes, somebody that I was worried about. So I would go in and we would talk to them. That's one of the luxuries that I have. Unfortunately, I missed a little bit of the action. You know, I missed the cane shot, but I'd rather be in the back helping out one of my wrestlers. And so what we do, absolutely, we emphasize that. We stress the importance of taking care of yourself. You know, and spiritual doesn't necessarily mean that you belong to a formal church, because a lot of people don't want to be part of a church for whatever reason. It's a higher power. It's something that you can believe in. And so some of the stuff that we've done is I've got together with some of the wrestlers, and we've done some our version of meditation. It may be a little bit different than some of the Kumbaya folks out there, and that's okay, because there's many ways to do this. I've also had some wrestlers call me, kind of on a late time, because they were having some problem. Maybe they were worried about relapse. Maybe they were worried about my marriage, my relationship is falling apart, and so they weren't actual sessions, because I can't help you go into a ring and beat the hell out of somebody and be your doctor at the same time. But I could talk to you as a friend, as a colleague who happens to be a doctor, and I can make a referral to you. So there's been many people that I've taken under my wing. I know Dub has as well, where we say something's not quite. One of those avenues. I'm really big on the number 3. I happen to be the 3rd, but we need to have that triad to be healthy. And we've seen some people who didn't have that, and we pulled them aside. Hey, if there's anything that we can do, if it's free services, if it's referrals, what have you. One of the other things that we did is, we talk about, I talk about how I got back into wrestling was because I noticed I had an injury, so I was having trouble walking. So I started training again. I bought a very beautiful machine. I set up a gym, and I've made it available not only to my employees here, which we kind of think of as a family, but also to wrestlers, into wrestlers in training. If they want to use it, I tell them how they can get in there 24 hours a day. And usually they ask me, so how much is it going to cost me? I go, just don't mess the shit up. Mm-hmm. Take care of it, show respect. And so we will work with people. You show respect. The Break the Chains belt came out actually before I even thought about making a league. I've been talking to schools. I've done state, local, international, national, all that stuff, presentations, trainings for years. So I came up with this idea for Break the Chains belt. Okay. So we could help inspire people. And then next thing you know, some wrestlers they saw it, because I have in my office, I've got at least I had at least a dozen championship belts on my walls. And somebody came to visit and they saw it and they're, oh, this is great. And next thing you know, we're going to defend the title. So it became an actual title. And so we will have people, and we talk to them, if you're not balanced, you're going to fall. And in wrestling, you don't want to fall needlessly.
The first champion being Ryan Frost. Warren, why Frosty?
Well, I don't know how much I should share, honestly. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I know details get a little,
Frosty's overcome a lot.
Yeah.
So the belt was meaningful to him. So that was largely why he became. So not to mention his unbelievable wrestling ability, but the significance as it pertains to his specific journey.
I can't remember how much got edited out and how much stayed in, but on the show, I spur of the moment, I made the match with Randy the title match, because I happened to be talking to the guys backstage, and I didn't clear a whole lot of permission. I'll just say both have gone through their version of hell, and they've come out smelling pretty well. They're working hard. And so it was not booked as a championship match. They didn't know it was a championship match until I talked to them and was inspired by them, because I was looking, I need a champion. Now Randy might be a jackass. and you know, he might be a heel, but heels can inspire too. And so I knew if I put those two together, there was not going to be a loser. You know, as far as like, you know, the championship was going to be in good hands, even if it's a guy that I may not care for. You know, I may not care for his actions and behaviors, you know, as far as like his attitude towards some of the cheap shots that Randy might do. But overall, he and I might not agree on the interpretation of the data sets, but we do agree of being good people. His version is a little different.
You can appreciate his journey.
Absolutely. And in fact, I talked to him, I think it was this morning.
Awesome.
You know, again, we don't have to agree on politics, religion, or heel versus face. If a person's a decent person at their core, even Abe with that cane of his, I see his value. But he's got to understand. And I want everybody else to understand this too. And I know it's a little bit off topic, but it goes in there. Being balanced also means knowing when you need help. So you probably have noticed that I had my silent associate follow me around.
I did.
So some people have asked if the silent associate is there to protect me. No, he's there to protect some of the wrestlers, because I have found that when I get in the zone, it's very hard for me to step out of the street. So when I'm working, I'm not a doctor. I'm the commissioner. And I've got an attitude.
Okay.
And I asked to have this guy help me out when I was having a discussion with one of the wrestlers, and he got out of line. And you might want to bleep some of this when it comes out in post. I said, you talk like that to me again, I want to have your head on a fucking pike. On Vanguard match.
Oh, wow.
And the veins came out, and I walked away. He walked away. He was stunned, and he walked away. I think he said, yes, sir, when he walked away. And as he's walking away, I'm going, holy shit, I thought that part of me was gone. And so, and the thing is, it wasn't even a Vanguard show. I was helping out at a different show backstage, and this guy got in my face. And so at that point, I called up my silent associate, who happens to be a retired wrestler. And I said, dude, I need a go-between. And he goes, why? I said, because I don't want to hurt somebody, but I got to tell you, if they get in my face like that again, they're going to see what pain feels like.
Oh, the commish. No,
so,
not messing around. Commission's not messing around.
So we have the silent associate, and it's for the wrestlers.
Okay.
It's not for me. And I hope someday that maybe I can calm my beast again, and maybe the silent associate goes off and he helps somebody else out. But right now, I need him so the commissioner doesn't break somebody's leg.
Well, I look forward to never seeing you get crazy.
Yeah, I look forward to not doing it. That's why I hired him. We all have our weaknesses, and I don't like bullies.
Oh, I've got my. If you want a therapy session, I can talk bullies for days.
And just for the record, when I'm in doctor mode, I'm a pussycat. I'm a pussycat. But when I get around wrestling, as my wife will say, she came to an after show get together, and it was just like what? I don't think Dub was there, but there was like 8 of us, and my wife, and I think that there's one other lady, and by the time that we left, we were having wings. You know, some people had beer. I don't drink, is a rule. We were having wings. As we leave, well, before we left, my wife leans up to me. She's like, "There's too much testosterone here." And as we're leaving, she mentioned it again, and I said, "Well, tell you what, maybe I shouldn't invite you to the next after get together." She's like, "That would be good." She's like, "I like these guys." She's like, and then she also said, "But when you get together with them, I don't know you."
It's different.
No. And I originally, by the way, wanted to be a backstage interviewer.
Oh, okay.
That was my first goal, but I was bigger than a lot of the wrestlers.
Yeah. You can.
and they didn't think that that would be appropriate. And I respected that, even though back in the day, you know, you would have some of the big guys do it. But then I also saw that my intensity sometimes would get the best of me, and I don't want to be in an interview and take to the you know, somebody's doing an interview and they're starting to be a bully, and you know, you see me starting getting pumped up and you know, mouth off to him or whatever. So that's why we hired. I think, and Doug can tell me if he disagrees. I think we've got one of the best interviewers, bar none. I'm talking major leagues, not just indies. We have Jackie. And when I saw her, I said, she's who we need, because she's not going to take away from the wrestlers. She's going to complement the wrestlers. And I dare say we don't have to risk the fact that she's going to break somebody's legs.
Warren, the vision, the long-term goals, all of the roster involved, the people behind the scenes that are involved with PVW. Is this anything you thought you would ever be part
of? No, honestly. I mean, I think you were actually there the first day that I became involved on any level with the indie scene. I didn't attend a wrestling show, an indie wrestling show. I've been to WWE and things like that, but I didn't attend a indie wrestling show before Tetsu. That was my introduction. When people would tell me about the indie wrestling scene, I didn't know that the talent was as talented. Like I thought I was very ignorant, right? Where I thought, like, if they were any good, they would be, you know, signed to and obviously that it was the most ignorant thought that I could have possibly had, because there's some people who are so talented that we're working with that it's truly shocking that they're not making $1 million. It's truly shocking that they haven't been discovered. And we hope to be a platform that elevates them to a place where they can be seen and they can really take their careers to the next level. So on one hand, we want them to continue wrestling for us, but the ultimate gift that we can get is somebody being discovered through our product
and getting on those higher platforms, so we, the fans, get to see them on TV on a weekly basis in those storylines and providing a substantial living for them and their families. And that's why these guys and girls get into this business, not only to live their dreams, because they have loved wrestling since they were 5, 6, 7, 8, and their favorite is Rey Mysterio, and they want to do this, but it turns into they want to do this for a living, for their families, for their future family that they're going to have once they gain a little bit of age and a little bit of wisdom and knowledge. So I feel that's a beautiful platform for our local scene. And I think that's an excellent message there.
And in that first show, it was Jordan Rowe as the heel and Sammy Diaz as the face. Insane. I was blown away.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Amazing. And I watch Raw every week. I watch SmackDown every week. That match was better than anything that I'd seen in months.
Absolutely.
So, and it was just like, we need to get some eyes on these people, right? Like, I don't know why they're not signed to a major promotion, but they deserve it. They're incredible.
And see, my take was a little different on this. I saw my son helping out with different leagues, doing a good job, and I saw some things happen in that he was losing his passion. He clearly wasn't happy, and you know, he and I might be oil and water in a lot of ways. As far as our personality is different, and I'll tell you, he's not afraid to tell me when he doesn't like something. He's not shy in the least. I love this guy. And when I saw at one point, it didn't look like he was going to go to another indie show because he had been disappointed. That's when I said, we need to do something. The other thing was, I don't know if I had, so I was helping out with some leagues. There's a few people that really stood out to me. And I remember talking to one of the promoters going, hey, can you get me the info for so-and-so? They said, why? I said, well, I think this person has what it could take to go to WWE. And I said, I don't know if my connection still is there because this was, when we're getting ready to do the merger, the sale. I said, but what I'd like to do is get their information, get some tapes of theirs, and I wanted to send it to a friend of mine in Stanford. Let's see what happens. And I literally had somebody tell me, why would you want to do that? If you do that, we're going to lose them. And I was like, holy Jesus, like they're making $50 to a couple $100. If they get into the big leagues, they might be making millions of dollars. I don't want to hold them back. I want them to go as far as they can. And hopefully when they make it to the top, I actually said this, I said, hopefully when they make it to the top, they remember us.
Right.
And maybe they say, hey, I've got some tickets for you when I'm in your state again. Or maybe I want to fly you out to WrestleMania because, dude, you're the one that got the booker to know I existed on this level. And at that point, I'm just like, this is toxic, man. And whoever it was, doesn't matter. But this is toxic. When you want to hold somebody back so you can try to sell a few tickets, that's not what we want to do here. Yes, I want to sell tickets. Yes, I want, at some point, I want to have that building that's not built yet. And I want to have it so people, it sells out, within an hour or two of the tickets going on sale. I would love to do that, but not if it's going to hold somebody else back.
Right.
We don't want that. And so I had that event that was just not sitting well with me. Then I saw my son not feeling a passion anymore for something. I know he loved it since he was a little kid. I got a picture of him when he maybe 9 years old, and my wife was able to get some. We didn't have any money, but somehow we got some damn good tickets. So we were on the floor at the WWF show, and so before it started, I was able to get him right up to the guardrail and get a picture centered with the ring behind him. Little kid, made his day. And I saw his passion was starting to go. So you know what? I'm not a rich guy, but we already discovered I don't really give a shit about money. So if I could dump $20,000 or $30,000 into something and it's going to help build his passion and it's going to help other people, why not do it? When I die, they can't bury me with the money anyway.
They could.
Well, they could, and you know what? You probably will find a way. So here's what's going to happen. So the guy, is really in love with money, and so he puts all the money in the casket, around him, so he can get buried in it. And then we need the Paul Heymans out there that'll go in and they're going to scoop up all that cash, and they're going to write a check and put it down there. And maybe that will fund the next big thing.
Ah, man. We have learned, I'm sure they didn't tell us all, but holy shit sticks, did we learn so much about PVW, about, all right, one more time, Dub 4, himself. This has been, hold on your hats, an amazing hour, 54 minutes and 50 seconds. We have been hanging out with 3 and 4, having a lot of fun, telling stories, getting the history of PVW, and boy, oh boy, their vision seems like that's my kind of stop, because I want to go to a place that's got maybe not the same guys that I've seen at PVW, but maybe another promotion has come in because they've rented it out and they needed it for the night. And we get to see maybe new faces we've never seen from possibly a different state, because that happens. Believe me, boys and girls, these people will travel just to get this venue. I'm telling you, a one-stop shop venue seems amazing. and this is going to be fantastic if done right. I'm going to go for the ride. I hope you join us for everything that's going to happen. We just got to wait and take it in increments as things happen with the future of Pure Vanguard Wrestling. Now, before I let you both go, I'm going to ask you both to please, first off, Doc, how do we get our hands on some of this beautiful PVW merch?
Well, I'll tell you, as of I believe they're set up today. I haven't called to verify, but Sup Life in Bristol, Connecticut, on Route 6, very good people. They're going to have a limited edition, a limited amount of Pure Vanguard Wrestling shirts like you're wearing right there. They also have the Break the Chain shirt, and when it comes from the printer, they will have the Vanguard Ranch shirt that people have asked about.
Awesome.
You can also buy them at events, and there may be another brick and mortar place coming up in the next month or so that will offer the shirts as well.
Okay. Just one more time, and the address, please. Where can they stop and grab some of this beautiful merch?
Sup Life is on Route 6 in Bristol, and it's right next to the Big Lots and the big gym. I forget the name of the gym there, but it's you've got the gym here, you've got Big Lots. They're right here by an appliance place. Excellent. And Tim is the owner, awesome guy. My favorite shake there is the Contender.
The Contender. The
Contender. Get the Contender. You can get it with vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry, but it kicks ass. It really does. Little bit of supplements added to it. You know, they have the best stuff. They don't do any of the black market stuff.
Okay.
You're not gonna get an injection there, but you're gonna get some really good supplements. They're the stuff that I've helped use in my rehabilitation.
I did the black market stuff once and once only. I ended up in like a different state and woke up in somebody else's house. I had to look at the mail to find out where the F I was. I'll never do that black market shit again.
We've all been there.
Warren, could you please take us home and give us, the fans, all the deets that we need to know how to find PVW, all of the platforms, please. We got to know and follow a brand new promotion in our local area.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all share the same tag, PVW World. Our website is also pvw.world. We have a link tree, so that's linktr.ee/PVW World. Everything's there for you. So we're going to obviously continue to add to our social media, build our social media presence. Every bit of engagement helps. So even if it's going on a video and just leaving a comment or leaving a like, anything helps, right? Anything that can help us with the algorithm and get it to other people's eyes really stands out for us, and we really, really appreciate it. One thing that I was surprised from the first show was how many messages we got on Facebook just saying, awesome show, we attended it. We were in the brewery, we didn't even know you were going to be there, and we found you, and we're fans now. We can't wait for the next show. We loved that. We've gotten lots of people suggesting matches to us. Please, anything that you'd like to see at our shows, please tell us, because we think we know. We think we have a good idea, but maybe there's something that we're overlooking. Maybe there's something that would be really cool to have at a show that we're only going to get that idea from a fan. So please engage with us, talk to us. We're listening. We want to hear from you.
And we are looking for volunteers, and we will train them. So people that have a beautiful energy, a beautiful love of wrestling, but they want to learn, how do I learn about something behind the scenes? How do I help with ring setup? How do I help with the show setup? How do I help with the talent? We're talking to people. As you probably saw, we have the two ring girls at the show. That came about because a lot of the indie shows, they don't have anybody to clear the gear, and it gets cumbersome. And there were these two girls that we knew the passion, and they're the next generation. We need that, the passion that they had for it. So I was talking to him at a show one day. I said, hey, would you be interested in doing something? Yes. How'd you feel about, we need somebody to, by the way, I'm calling them ring girls because they're little girls. If they were boys, we'll call them ring boys. I said, would you like to help clear the gear? I could do that. I'm like, we need somebody to do that. You've got a passion for it. Absolutely. It's like we gave them the PVW shirt, and it was like we gave them $1 million, and they will be at our shows.
Awesome.
And I want to nurture, especially if they're on the younger side. I want to nurture them because I'm 51. Don, you're what, 85? You said something like that.
Just turning 87.
87. Okay, so at some point we're gonna want to retire.
Yeah. Jokes at the end. Oh my God.
So at some point we might want to slow down, and the fact that I was 15 when my son was born means about the time I'm thinking about retirement, he might start thinking about it too. So we get the younger people, we get them involved. Yeah. As some of us phase out for whatever reasons, we have people already there.
Yeah.
This is all about building.
You want to keep that train rolling, man. You want to keep that train rolling. I feel the vision. It's very exciting. I'm picking up what PVW is putting down. I'm telling you. You guys seem like you're on a great path. Your vision is excellent. I can't wait to see it starting to come together. The production is already fire, so it's only going to get better from here out. You have shared way more than I ever expected with us, the fans, today, especially with chit-chatting for 2 hours. This is the stuff that we don't get at the shows, boys and girls. You can't ask these type of questions and engage and get these kind of conversations when we're at the shows with the talent. This is why we get to have them come on SCP, have them sit down, take a little bit of time out of their time, and we get to get some information. Maybe all depends on how much they pull the curtain back. I talked to a plastic Funko doll, a facsimile of Dan the Man, for 2.5 hours. So sometimes there's that. My quickest one to date is 40 or 45 seconds. Q was smoking a blunt and he hung up on me. And so SCP is all over the place. But what it is informational. And I am so glad we got to have PvP as a team come on STP and talk to us, the fans. Doc, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being open and sharing. And your vision, it seems excellent, and I can't wait to see it unfold. Doc, thank you so much. I appreciate you, my friend.
Glad to be here.
Warren, I've known you for a couple minutes, and I thank you as well for taking your time because, again, everybody's got shit to do. I thank you for taking your time and giving us, pulling back the curtain a wee bit and giving us a little walkthrough, a little tour, if you will, of PVW. I thank you, my friend.
My pleasure. I hope that, in a year you'll have us on again and we can have even more updates for you.
I would love a return. Are you shitting me? If this vision takes off like you guys are talking about, we absolutely, capital HAVE quotations, we have to have a return because that would be fire, as the kids say.
And you said he couldn't spell.
4 letters. I don't go past that too much.
I say it 3.
It's Turn Apart with Don Kincaid, with our very special guests. We have from Pure Vanguard Wrestling, one Doc Warren. I'll say it for the very last time in my existing life, for the 4th time, and I'm keeping count. Doug 4!
Hey!
So much for spending the time with us, the fans. Oh.